think this is number 3. Now I'm going to show you a lot of different ways that you can like basically program these things. Before I do that, I have to show you, all right, so let me just kind of introduce. We talked about these groups, and there's these groups and things like that. And the way I have this laid out, and if you don't work here, you're gonna be like, whatever, but if you work here, you need to know. So my first row, it has to do with spots, and I have a bunch of different kinds of spots. So it's like the hybrids, this is the back hybrids. And so this is like the hybrids back. If I hit locate, those are the ones back there. Then I have these things called trios. I hit those, and those are like these wash lights that can also kind of quasi be beams. So let me clear that out. And then I have my spots. Okay, I'm going down just so you can see them. And then I have these side spots. So these are the side spots, are the ones of these mirrors. All right, for this. All right. Now, here is hybrid alls, because when you collect a group and you add an effect on it, you have to have all those lights kind of on a group. All right. So our hybrids are 3 in the front, 8 in the back. It's kind of our main lights. All the trios are 6 in the back because they're in between, and 2 on the sides. All right. And of course, like you know, they all change colors. They all have a little idiosyncrasy about how they behave. All right, and position. So let me keep going. Pixels are all these things that have to do with those little things. And we have the bottoms. There's ones on the top over the mirror that you can't see between here. And then we have what I call blinders, but they're not really blinders. They're on the sides. And then I have these all right? Does that make sense for them right now? But you have to find them, and you put effects on them, all right? Low sides is these right here. We do a dance thing, so they're really important. High sides are these ones up there, all right? The trio sides are those ones I showed you, and the pixel sides are there. So if you notice, the pixels should be with the pixels, but I like the sides all together. The next one is the mirror in several functions, okay? So that's the mirror. And remember, we turn things up and down there. And then I call this, all right, and I also put the blinders on here. They're so bright, I use the volume, all right? So we have the 4 there, and I have the high ones that are actually straight towards the audience on the sides. Okay, these you have to hit locate and then adjust the volume. All right, and they go in the size and the audience, all right? The lasers are a little more difficult, but we have all the lasers, bottom lasers and top lasers. If you hit the lasers, you gotta actually program them to make them look like anything. Okay, this next row here is aerial stuff, all right? So this is, when we do aerial, we have one aerial thing. This is a light in the center. It's so close we can use it as an aerial. All right. Now we have a pole performer. You know, like you guys would call it the stripper pole. So this is the wash function. Okay, it might be really hard to see because it's way over there. And then this is the hybrids on the pole, the trios on the pole. All right. So there's just certain hybrids, and I will put them in motion, trios in motion, so they're where they're supposed to go and easy to see. And then this is like all the spots on the pole, and I can put them all in beams and put them in low, medium, high, and make them move and stuff like that. Okay, so creating these positions takes a very long time from where we are. Just so, like, you're going to end up going back, especially for something like that. We actually have cameras, and I'm trying to look at them. All right. So, teaching you all these things because this is basic programming. So, this is the wash front is 8 lights that are Chavez. I hit those. Now, they can be colored. The ones that are called wash, they should be called like wash RGB. Hybrid fronts, so you know about those. And those are these ones that are there. I'll put them in the center because now, remember, spots all got to be centered, etc. All right, I'll clear that out. And then we have these front whites that are just whites, okay? And let me hit those on. And, you know, they're like our spots. We have incandescent lights here. All these. So I'll hit the first 5 up, and those are 5 something else. And that's, I run a separate things because sometimes you just can't see them because of a certain scene. So I just like to have those. And sometimes the board goes out and I'm restarting the computer and I need lights. All right, these are some UV lights. Okay, really come up on camera. And they call it wash. Center is these lights, or 6 lights that are RGB that are shooting straight down. We use them to get the shoulders. All right, so if I hit like these lights, plus these lights, plus these lights, plus this wash center lights, and then I get the high sides. You kind of have a whole bunch of front stuff that you do like a church scene or a talk show or not, whatever. All right, next thing is the house light. So we have the house on the board, and it's separated between like the columns. Okay, can you see how those columns came up? And you can change the colors of the columns. But if I hit all of them, that means the bar and everything is on the light board. So the general rule of thumb is if you make a red scene, you're gonna change these to red. And what I would do is you're gonna hit all colors, hit locate, and then you would hit red. That makes sense? And then see, that's gonna be really bright. So I'm gonna go back to colors and I'm gonna turn the columns down. But that way, if you want a dark scene, because how do I just say this? It's neat when the stage is lit up the same color. It brings the scene into the audience. All right, so all the bar and all these other things are. So we're playing with the house lights. When the MC is here, you want some of the house lights on because people can see their food, they can see their drinks. But when they start performing, we want these house lights kind of off, not the colors, but you want them dim. So instead of like this, see, that would be like all these white lights that we have. Those are the chandeliers. Those are all these chandeliers that are here. By the way, they're on motors. Okay, so I can pull those down so you can see them. All right, and I have this thing that I made and all those lights, and then I can flip those down and keep those on for a moody thing because we're trying to get their eyes on the stage. When the MC's there, we're okay to have kind of a different thing. So that's the colors, columns, bars, and stage is like that. That means the bar and stage. So bar and stage, locate, color. All right, and you could put that in your light programs and make them change. These are what we call the cabaret lights. This is all of them. They all need to be dimmed differently. So you cannot really hit like all cabs, locate, and that be okay. You have to separate them all, okay? Because the bar chandeliers are way too bright. So if you're just trying to get those up and going, there's the bar chandeliers. I'm gonna pull those all the way down to like 10. So I look over here. Can you see this right there? Okay, this is, now watch when I turn those on. Of course, the camera is not accurate, but you can barely see them at like 10, just to give you an example, okay? Oops, I screwed that up. Dang it, here it is. Okay, so this is all the way on. That's on, see? All right, that was a lot. That's kind of like some of the philosophy. So let me show you some basic programming stuff. When I use the pixels, all right, so from the top, you're gonna tend to do like the hybrids, or they do the most. So let me show you some things the hybrids do. Hit locate, all right, and then I'm gonna pick a color, something like yellow, all right. Then I'm gonna I like to pick the beam next personally. And this is what I call the spot. They're nice and round. They also have washes, which is really cool. Wash, tight, medium, wide. If you don't like how wide that is, you can go to the left and there's these pages. This is touch sensitive. And you can change things like the focus and the zoom. You can also come over here and change things like the gobo, or you can use gobos that are there and you can see that there, all right? Let's learn how to do an effect. And I highly suggest you go to the Chamsys site about how to program, because they go super in depth in all this. This has to do a little more with us and things we do with the lights that we have. So let's say I have these hybrids in the back. I hit the locate. I'm gonna make them a beam and I'm gonna put them on standard. And if I'm gonna put it on white, all right, and then I'm gonna make an effect. There are like all these effects and they go into it. So in order to do that, you're gonna be on your group, hit add effect, and I'm gonna do a position effect. You'll learn that certain, like this thing, the hybrids don't do color effects, all right, very well. And so we're gonna do the position, and the easiest one is to go circle. I'm gonna hit circle. Now, see, that's a crazy effect. But I want that thing to stay on the stage. So now I got all these different ways in which I can manipulate it to make it really simple for you. Go over to your effects, it's on 50%, and we'll put it on 0. So I'm gonna talk you through that. You start it out like this, and if I go like this, I can make sure it's on the thing, on the stage, right? If I hit 2 parts, then I can break it up so there's basically two sets of effects doing motion, and it gives you something different. Now, if I want that to go faster, you can see the speed. I will start speeding that up. So it's on 30, 35, and speed and size are not independent. They work together. So if I make this bigger, that goes feeling faster. If I make it smaller, it feels slower, and you're using each one, okay? Then you come up in the programmer under, so programmer being like right there, but you would find it under view levels, view times, view effects, and you can get a bunch of effects going for different sets, and then you would touch one of these, play with these, touch them. All right, so let's clear that out, and just real generally, our spots, do the same kind of things. So we'd add effects, like these, oops, dang it, clear. Spots, small spots, locate. I'm gonna go to layout, 1, forward, lean forward, and I want these things to kind of go left and right like a skylight. So I go back to my spot and you add effects. I mean, you can spend a lot of time just making light scenes and putting them over into an executive and then pulling them in. That's what I will show you in the next one, all right? So this one in positions, I will go panning left and right, all right? So now they're gonna go like that, but I want them to look like 20th Century Fox kind of thing. I'll do 2 things, all right? That's that. Now, let's have some fun with like cabaret lights. Here's some functions like you have the mirror, you don't turn the lights on this one. You're just gonna go to effects, and this is how to do a basic 1-2 Chuck E. Cheese thing. Go to intensity, it says intensity. You go to dim chase, which may move, by the way. Now, you see that, see what it's doing? So now we can mess with this. We mess with this thing, all right? So the width is 50%. What I do is I make this number 2, okay? I come over to fade, and I put it on not fade, and this is what non-fading does, and I'm speeding it up. I'll speed it to BPM about 120, okay? And if they faded, they'd be going like that, and if they're not faded, they blink. Does that make sense? Now, there's a little button here, and it says forward. If I double click that, I get little functions, like I can go random. Now look what happens, right? It just does different things, and you could speed it up and then make it glistening, and I could go back to only one of these. I'm going super fast because there's so many lights. Last one I'm going to show you is the pixel lights. You're going to want to use those like, here's like a standard pixel setting. You would start with something like, you hit the pixels without blinders. That's the standard, okay? Hit locate, and you go, I want that to be green, all right? And you're gonna end up really hitting the dimmer on this because you don't want it too bright. But you can put that on white, and if you were gonna do an effect on that, come back over to this one right here. Hopefully I'm showing it. Hit effects, and this is one where we could do a color effect, all right? So I will do a, how about 3 colors? No, 2 colors. 2 color effect. I will pick white, and then I will pick red. All right, so see that? And then there's 3 different ones of these. You can look at what those are. I will hit include all elements. First thing I like to do is pull off that fade and pull up some speed so I'm not waiting all day for this thing to do what it's gonna do. Okay, so you can see those. Now, the size has to do with brightness over here, okay? So you can see if I pull it off, it's white, no effect. It's the thing of the effect. Now, if I make the effect, this thing right here, I'm gonna start at 50, and I'm moving down, and you can see it's white on white. Let's say I make, so I'm gonna change this to blue, which is weird. See, now it's doing weird things. I don't completely understand those. Now, how do I get back to my effects? Because I've been playing around here, and let's say this wasn't there. You could go into programming, up here, program, and you would find view levels, blah, 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 view effects. All right, let's go into the different ways to like basically record things into the timeline.